Craft Brews, Casual Conversations. The first time Rob has ever in his life arranged an interview, and it's pulled through. It's happened. I'm very proud of him. And the easy route to do it is to find another person named Rob. Rob Weldon, author, music guy, former radio person I see as well on the old resume. He's here. He's talking about his book. What's up, Rob?
How are you, man?
I'm fine.
Are you talking to me or him?
I know, that's the problem.
I'll refer to Rob Weldon as Interesting Rob, and then I'll refer to the other Robert as, just
You
Rob.
can call this one Interesting Rob, and I can't get mad about it then.
Exactly. Yes, that is very very true. So we're here to talk about your new book that was just released, but
Consumia Spiritual Emporium.
Exactly. But first,
Consumia is not a real word. I made that up, but it fits. If you read the book, you'll see there's a reason for it.
Awesome. Before we get into the details of that, let's talk about the beers that you are drinking. So I tapped into a cellar beer that I have for such a special occasion. So this beer has been sitting, and by the cellar, it's sitting in a box in my hallway that doesn't get used too much, but it's from a brewery in Wisconsin. So I don't know if you're familiar with Three Sheeps Brewing, but they have a barrel society every year. So every year they make select beers from various whiskey barrels, Chardonnay barrels, things of that nature. So they let those soak in those, and then they bottle them up, and certain people who are part of the club get them. So I got a bunch of them from 2019. So this thing is from 2019. It's the Wolf Vanilla Rye, which is an imperial stout with vanilla aged in rye whiskey barrels. 12% alcohol on a Sunday evening when I have to work tomorrow. So that's how important this interview is to me, Rob. I'm willing to risk my health.
All that sugar.
I don't know if
fun.
Yeah, some sugar and stuff like that. The two of you are drinking a Mai Tai PA from Alvarado Street Brewing, located in Monterey. Is that how you say it? Monterey, California?
Yep.
It says they're drier, decidedly tropical IPA that's light on bitterness but heavy on hop aroma. Courtesy of 100% Mosaic hops, one whiff, and you get super intense notes of passion fruit, mango, and leche. Grain bill of just American two-row malt and a clean fermentation keeps it simple and allow these hops to shine. So this is 6.5 ABVs, 45 on the IBUs.
Nice.
Honestly, I haven't confident lately, but you've been killing it
with reading.
Yeah, it only took 5 years for you to get the reading down.
It's because I've been doing local news for the last year. I think it's improved my.
You used to mess something up so bad in every beer.
I'm cracking it.
There we go. I cracked mine. I'm gonna smell it.
What is it? How's it smell? It says that
it definitely smells tropical.
Okay.
I think he's gonna do better at this than I ever could.
No, I don't know about that. I get a little pineapple on the nose.
Yeah, there's pineapple.
Are you a big craft beer guy? Interesting, Rob.
I work at a craft beer bar.
That's right.
It's called Tony's Darts Away. It's in Burbank, and we only serve California beer.
Okay.
And every single day it's a different menu. So like when we blow something else gets cycled in, and every time I work, I try beer I've never had before. So it sucks.
Oh, sure. Especially if you like something and then all of a sudden it's gone, and then it's...
No, I mean, twist my arm. I got to taste the beer when I get to work.
Oh, bummer. Yeah.
I got to know what I'm selling.
I told myself when I started going there I was going to make my way through the menu, but since it never ends, I'll never make it through.
All right. Yeah.
But it's the voyage that matters.
Awesome.
How about your beer? How's that?
It's good. It does have that whiskey taste to it a little bit. Get that little vanilla. It's not as... it's been sitting for a while. You can't really see it courtesy of my background, but I think from it sitting, it kind of loses some of the carbonation a little bit, but it still has a really good taste to it. I don't really lean towards a lot of stouts, but now we're getting to that time of the year where it's going to be fall in like a month and a half, and then that's kind of the time where you're supposed to be drinking them. the nice time. The sun's going down a little earlier. You can enjoy it at like 5:00 after you eat some food or something. It's pretty good.
How long did you sell her that for?
So somebody had it. They had it. So it's been since 2019.
Okay.
So
3 years.
Yeah, about 3 years. And you can keep cellaring it. I think most brewers just drink it after it's made, but some people hold on to it and let it because the taste will be different over time. The alcohol can boost up a little bit over time, but it was a gift to me. Somebody gave it to me like a year ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
that's a good gift though. I don't really like as much when they start tasting like dark fruits, like dates. Like that happens a lot with older imperial stouts and barrel aged and whatever. That's not my favorite. But didn't you, when you were reading the Mai Tai PA thing, didn't it say that it wasn't that bitter?
It said light on the bitterness, yeah, heavy on the hop aroma.
I don't know that.
I thought it was bitter. Yeah,
it's pretty bitter. Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to let you guys talk, but I was going to say once again the IBUs make no sense.
But it's lighter on the malt. Like it's not a really sweet beer.
Okay. Does it have a little bit tropical though? A little good. Looks good. Sounds good.
It's more on the nose than on the flavor.
Yeah, the flavor doesn't. I was
going
to say it's not. I don't know. I feel like I'm spoiled with Tony's beers because they're like anything that I get out of a can now just doesn't taste quite right.
All right.
Yeah, we're keg only, draft only.
Nice, awesome. Yeah. Well, let's talk about your book, man. So you have Consumia's Spiritual Emporium. It's out on Amazon, and people can buy it. People can read it. Tell us about it, the process that you went through to creating it, and I noticed it also said book 1. So. How many can we expect and all that kind of stuff?
Who the hell knows?
I'll just throw the kitchen sink at him and make him tell here, just talk for the next hour now, Rob.
I don't want to do that to you, but I started this book in 2018, and it took me 2.5 years to write the first draft, which, it's about normal for what my pace had been. Nothing had been published before, but, every, 3 to 5 years, I'd knock out another crappy first draft of a book that wasn't working. And we're in the midst of a pandemic, so this is mid-May of 21, and I sent it to my best friend for him to read it. He's going to be my beta reader, and just for fun I thought, you know what, I'm going to see if I can knock out a sequel. I'm going to try to do a NaNoWriMo thing, 50,000 words in 30 days. And in 30 days I had actually written 60,000, and it was a complete sequel. So 2.5 years for book 1 and then 30 days for book 2.
Awesome.
And he still hadn't read it yet. He wasn't done with it yet. So I did it again and again and again. And again. I literally wrote 7 sequels in 7 months. And now, granted, they're shitty first drafts. You do not want to read these. They're unreadable. But the faucet was flowing and I didn't want to stop it. And I already had book 9 laid out, rough outline, 7 to 9 pages of notes. And I stopped myself. I turned 50 in like a week and a half. And I told myself I need to publish this first book before I turn 50. So that forced me to stop and fix this. And, 7 more drafts later, after an editor that I had hired, a proofreader I had hired, got a brilliant guy that did the artwork. He does the visuals for American Horror Story and Paul Thomas Anderson films. And here it is. But book 2 is 100% done already.
Nice.
Book 3, I'm sending my proofreader next Wednesday. So I feel good about saying that there will be 3. Awesome. Who knows how many total? But
let's talk about the first one. What's it about?
It's a good question too, because I'm setting up a universe. It's not about anything the way that the sequels all are. I would say that the story is a character. The Emporium, Consumia Spiritual Emporium, is in North Hollywood, fictionally, on Lancashire. It's kind of a little hub where there's, stores and restaurants and bars and such. But this woman who runs it, Connie, the Consumia, she doesn't really believe in magic and that sort of stuff. She came out of she was a failed real estate person. So she decides to open the store, but she knew that if you have the house that Harry Houdini used to live in, you could sell it for a lot more money.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you do that with a yoga mat? Well, you say that a monk died while meditating. That one now costs 20 times as much money as all the other prayer mats. So she does this with every single item in the store, but she doesn't believe it because she's making up this fiction for it, and she's selling these items to people. And what happens when you open a store selling magical items, real or not, is that magic finds you. And that's what happens.
Nice.
So these people that don't believe in magic are suddenly dealing with magic in their face.
Crazy. That sounds
So basically, but there's a stolen item, and somebody dies in the back room, the dark arts room, with all of his skin removed, that where tattoos used to be. So the myth in the book is that the tattoos all came alive and became the items that they represented. And specifically, a broken heart that was on his chest had become a heart, and he died that way. But again, that's all part of the mystery of the story, like what really happened to this person.
Awesome. Yeah, and of course we don't want to give the full details away.
Too much away.
I will say, so I just finished reading it, and I was in a book club that was reading it, and there were like 7 or 8 people there today that we all finished it, and everybody took something different away from the story. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can latch on to the ideals and the themes in the book. I really enjoyed it, and I do have questions for at the end that they asked me to ask you.
Okay, that's fine.
So when you dive into something like this, you're from the UP, Upper Michigan, right?
Correct.
Or Lower Michigan
Correct.
too?
That's where I was born, yes.
Okay. So you're a fellow Midwesterner. You're familiar with all that stuff. You moved to California. Was it
right out of college?
Right out of college, with the ambition of becoming an author?
Well, actually, I'd gotten a job at a record company. I went to Wayne State University in Detroit, and we had to get internships. So some people did, newspapers, some people did television stations. I did a radio station. It was top 40, even though I listened to 89X. I was listening to Nine Inch Nails and Pearl Jam, but it flipped alternative, and they weren't really built for that. The staff that was there. So they started sticking record company people on me, like, hey, if you were going to play some new music on your show, you should talk to them and find out what's going on. So as a 21-year-old, I was dealing with this stuff. And when I was 22, I got a job offer, and I got a grown-up job at a record company. So I moved to LA. Here I am.
There you are.
So I stopped writing. I went to college for writing, and yet it was music that really took off for me.
Okay. But then you're in LA working on that stuff. The music career is going well, going well. Kind of being an author, writing stuff has always been. Was it a hobby? Was it like always a passion? Or?
I was in a lot of airports and in a lot of hotel bars waiting, to either meet somebody or pick them up. Or I had a lot of downtime that was weird. And keep in mind, this is before like text messaging and email on your phones. Right. So like you weren't playing with social media. So like I was either reading or I was writing. So I'd like the journal, and I would just be journaling stuff. It wasn't daily journal. I was writing fiction, ideas for short stories, or writing full on short stories, or working on those novels that I said sucked. So I had a lot of downtime. So I was always still doing it, but I wasn't doing it well because I was never actually like, now I focus 40 hours a week on just writing. And I've been doing this for a while now. But back then it was because it was piecemeal. Nothing was really coming together.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Are you when you look at writing, when you approach it, are you obsessed with the hero's journey?
No. That is something that comes up a lot in conversation with people. I'm not opposed to it. I just don't want to write it. I'm tired of reading it. I'm tired of watching movies about it. Like I'm not going to name the brand names, but we know the brand names that are doing it, and they're rehashing the same story over and over and over. And that's how I felt about pop music. If you're rehashing the same song over and over and over, it just bores me. I'd rather listen to a B-side from The Faint than listen to the next, pop single. But I've always been like that. Even when I worked at record companies, like the bands would make fun of me teasingly that, sorry, we're not The Faint or Interpol. I'm like, yeah, I know you're not. I agree.
Yeah,
No
absolutely.
reason to apologize. My job's not. I'm not being paid to like you. I'm being paid to get you on the radio, and you're getting on the radio.
Right.
You know.
So what are
So
you reading then? Where do you reach for inspiration? How do you find how do you just create the story?
I was reading most recently. I read 52 novels in the first 52 weeks of the pandemic.
Dude, that's fucking crazy. I read 3 books this summer. That's it.
Well, yeah, that's better than me this summer, because as soon I started a writing streak. I didn't know it was a writing streak at the time, but May 17th of 2021, I started writing every single day. I wanted to do that NaNoWriMo thing.
Right.
And in order to do it, you got to write every day. There's no writing 3 days a week or 4 days a week and being satisfied with that. No, you got to freaking do this every day. And it's still going. So since May 17th of 2021, I've written at minimum 2 hours a day.
Well, it's productive work then. I mean, it's not like you've just like abandoned reading books to,
No, but since May 17th of 2021, I probably read 4 novels total.
Okay.
I went from reading 52 in a year to
Right.
reading now 4 in a year and a half.
Yeah, but
It's a different story.
You're focused on other things, and
I use up all my words. I don't want to
Sure.
read anymore.
Yeah.
Because that's the fun part about writing on your own, is that you write until you're burnt and then you're done. You're not forcing yourself to write when you don't want to write. Like, it's not even
Right.
It's not work anymore. I just do it until I burn out. So it could be 12 hours. It could be 2 hours.
Okay. How do you? So, you said a lot of your earlier stuff is quote unquote shitty.
Yes.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's the greatest thing, but you're being critical. How do you decide what's good and what's not? What's like? How do you decide? Like on Consumia, how did you decide this is the story I want to pursue, and edit and get out there?
You cycle through stuff, like my initial idea for her is not what she is now. My initial idea was, I was inspired. I read a lot of Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett among that 52 in a year. And it was specifically American Gods that I was rereading. And I got to a certain point where I'm like, you know what? If this book was taking place in Los Angeles, have you ever read it, by the way?
Your book? No, not
American
yet.
Gods. No, American Gods.
No.
So I'll try not to get in the weeds about his book then, but I had this idea inspired by him of, what if there was an agent, because I'm in LA, Hollywood. Right. What if there was an agent for the gods, and it was her job to get people to worship them so that they could get more popular, because their popularity is more people worshiping them. That's the idea from Neil Gaiman, is if no one's worshiping you as a god, you die, you shrivel away. Mm-hmm. So like, you need to stay relevant. And the idea was that she makes people think these gods are more relevant, so they get prayed to more, and then they get more powerful. And that's sort of the way fame works anyway. And it morphed away from that to now she just runs the hub where all these omniscients speak. And these omniscients are talking about these rare gods, like Fomotalia, she's the goddess of FOMO. Or, Ambros, the god of sleep. You need to worship the god of sleep. And again, the god of sleep could give you sleep or make you not need sleep. Could go either way, actually. So now she's just creating a forum for it. So she's not pushing them. They're pushing them. The omniscients are pushing them. So she evolved into somebody who just didn't believe in it. Mm-hmm. She was just making money off selling these items and hosting these events that sold more items. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it evolves. So like, it's just churning through the ideas, and you write a chapter and you go, you know what, this isn't working. Let me try writing it this way. And that's why it took 2.5 years to write the first draft of the first book.
For sure.
But once I had the idea, there was like a tunnel. I could see like light at the end of it. Now it's like I'm writing all this stuff that fits within that lane.
Yeah, absolutely. I've never really have written anything. I've written stuff for the podcast, like a script for the podcast.
Yeah.
First draft is what the product was. First draft. We were short on time.
First draft.
We first drafted. We're not professionals, but
yeah.
I have.
We do first drafts and first takes.
Yeah, that's true. So I have like 2 ideas. I think one would be a good like play, and one would be like a good like maybe a good idea for a book. Probably not though. I don't have the skills to do it though. But what would you say as
Bullshit.
a person who's gone through this process from idea, conception to writing to publishing. Like, how do you just do it? You just sit down and write it. You got to be disciplined, and it's not, obviously, like you said, it's not going to happen the first take. It's not going to happen the first try. But
yeah, I mean, for me again, it took probably 5 novels before I finally felt confident that I'm okay with other people reading this now.
Sure.
And yes, you can be your own worst critic, but that doesn't mean you're wrong. You know, it's okay to be your own worst critic, just as long as you're not using it as an excuse to shut down and not do it. So the reason that I hired an editor, I mean, there's obviously everybody needs an editor, and I disbelieve people that are publishing books, you know, in their second drafts. It's like, you know, that's god awful. No one's rereading those stories.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're putting something out there that's not being reread, you're not caring about it either. You know,
that's a good perspective. I like that.
So I won't even let my editor read anything less than the 5th draft.
Okay.
Because it's not going to be good. But by hiring her, though, I spent money now. I have to send it and let it go. And then I have to do those changes that she recommends. I mean, 95% of them. I mean, you know, we're not going to agree on everything, but especially when in doubt, I lean toward what she
Right.
says. She's the expert at that. I did this. She does that. Where it meets is going to be the final product. And then because I went through the process of spending all that money on an editor, well, I have to get a proofreader because I just threw that money away then. So, but by hiring a proofreader, now I can't mess with it anymore because I'm taking away, the more I mess with it, the more I'm taking away what the proofreader did.
Mm-hmm.
So, now it just put me on this train where I have no choice but to keep writing and to keep editing and keep proofreading and keep putting these out. And I love it. I've never been happier in my life.
Good. So would you
other people spend 20 grand in a year on therapy or whatever. And it's like, I got my own and I can recoup some of it.
Yeah. Would you say making the trip from Michigan to California was worth it?
Yeah. Why not? I know nothing else.
Right. It's just interesting because.
Are you thinking about coming out here finally?
Yeah, let me
outgroup
pack
the
up my wife and 3 kids, and we'll
Dude, a
shuffle down.
4-bedroom place isn't that expensive.
I'll just say, you know what? I can't. I gotta abandon this career that I'm still in school for, and I need to. What would I do? What would I do, Rob?
I don't know.
Robert.
You'd be fulfilling my greatest dream, though, and that'd be you coming out here.
I'm not. I can't write. I can't do stand-up comedy. I can't act.
We had to save Santa from Satan, the 7th hell, depths of fear of through hell.
Yeah, it's pretty. We've saved Christmas quite a bit.
Yeah, we saved Christmas 2 times at least.
I think twice. Yeah. So, but you know, obviously, you know Rob a little bit. Even though you've talked to him for a while, you've established this friendship. He left Wisconsin, to find himself, which I think he finally is starting to do, which is a good thing.
Sure.
But also he wanted to embark on this writing adventure. So let's turn the pages on Not So Interesting Rob and find out
Robert.
what he's been doing.
Robert.
Unfun Robert. How's the writing going? And have you read
30 seconds of just dead air?
Well, when you have conversations about writing, what is it about, or is that too?
We talk a lot. I feel like we talk a lot about character development and theme, like depth. Right? I would say.
That's absolutely.
Which, in terms of this book, like I really enjoyed the way that the characters, the like where they went and how they came through at the end, and what is set up for the next book. It's and really reading a book that takes place in a place where you live, like it made me rethink a lot about how I'm writing the backgrounds for the stories or the things that I'm writing, because I guess it didn't. I never thought that like the places that Fond du Lac or whatever had anything to offer for that, but I think it would. It's like it just made me think of where we grew up completely differently, having experience living in a place where a book takes place. Now I kind of know how to use the places that I grew up more efficiently and more effectively, I feel like.
Okay.
I hope that that's something that's worth taking away.
Sure.
But I'm trying to write every day. I don't have a streak going quite like Interesting Rob.
Quit calling me that. It's so weird. It's funny. Like when I went back
all the time.
I went back. When I've gone back to Michigan, I used to go back a lot more. But a couple of times I've been out with a group of people, and there'd be another Rob there, and I was suddenly California Rob. I'm like,
he's California
I've
Rob.
never associated with that character ever in my life, and now suddenly I'm this brand new thing that didn't exist before. And it's like, I'm older than you. I was born in Michigan before you were, and yet Rob. I'm California Rob.
The sad part is okay, I ran into Jack at the bar tonight, and he goes, "What's up, Burbank Bob?"
Yes.
Because we this is a theme that Drew does throughout. There's Facebook Rob.
Facebook Robert.
Facebook Robert when he wrote my dating app, my dating profile on Facebook.
Nice.
UP Rob.
Emoji
California
Robbie.
Rob. Burbank Bob. I don't even know all the rest of them, but it pisses me off so much.
He's Burbank Bob right now. That's who he is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Bob Bank.
Bob Bank. Don't give him ideas, please.
I like
this
that.
better not be called that. It better be called Interesting Rob.
No, this will be called
Robert Bank.
Yeah.
Robert Bank.
Robert Bank. I like Burbank.
Robert Bank.
Yeah.
You gotta get the T in there.
One.
Robert Bank. Yeah. See, I can't even do it that well.
One request I would say that I have for you, Rob, the author, who if you ever make a horror type a book, can you kill me in it?
Well, he wouldn't consider that a horror.
Yeah.
He knows what's up.
All of my books
starts with Drew getting killed, and then I walk and go, who cares?
I mean, all of my books have a little bit of horror in them.
Do they?
But they're dark comedies.
I'm interested to know what you put back on the shelf. You've got things do you have like full books that you wrote and then just said, no, this isn't.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me because
for sure.
I don't think I could ever get to the point where I wrote something out. I would throw it out long before I wrote it out.
My first book, I had written who knows how many drafts of it, because you get to a certain point where you're like, I tweaked it a ton, but I don't know if I'd call it a draft. Like you start getting into this nether world of numbers. But I came very close to getting an agent. I'd reached out to a couple of my favorite writers' agents. And they asked for samples and they liked it. And then, you always get to this certain point where, we're going to hold off on one sec because there's a lot of that out there, or we already have that, or whatever. And I was dealing with a couple of publishing companies on my own as well. And again, without naming names, but I got moved up the food chain. Like the initial reader then went to basically the equivalent of the publishing A&R meeting. And it got moved up, and it was actually the president of the company that said this will cost too much money for editing because it was an experimental fiction. And I don't know there would have been that much editing because it was already on purpose crazy edited,
Yeah.
But it didn't get published, and I have to admit that kind of broke me a little bit. And, indie publishing, like on Amazon and things like that, didn't really exist back then.
Yeah.
I mean, technically it existed, but nobody of value is doing it yet.
Yeah.
It was all just sort of like, again, I don't want to dismiss anybody, but they're, who I'm talking about, where it's just a hobby on the side. And they're not really trying to create art. It's more vanity. And,
I was going to ask that. I was going to ask,
it kind of broke my heart a little bit. And I didn't even bother with the next two books, sending it out and doing whatever. Like, I already knew that these weren't as good, but I had the self-fulfillment of, hey, I did this, it's a cool thing. It's like working out, but you could say that, oh man, my stomach feels slimmer. My pecs feel better, but I'm still not taking my shirt off. That's what that feels like. You feel better, but no, I don't need other people seeing it.
Yeah, I understand that.
This is the first time I feel like I've taken my shirt off.
Would you say that that's a good way to think? Or should the person take their shirt off?
I don't know. That's just the way I thought. I'm not speaking for anybody else. But
I think he said that the subtone there is take your shirt off.
Right now?
Yeah, please.
Rob, you really miss him.
I do. I miss him so much.
No.
Just a little nip slip, please.
Is it chilly there?
Yeah. No, it's actually been pretty humid. They're supposed to get some wicked storms, but it hasn't happened. So that's good. But
Need some wicked stars?
wicked storms.
Wicked storms.
Yeah, he's from Boston all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Boston.
Can you tell that do I have an accent from Wisconsin? So you're from Michigan.
Yeah. I mean, because my family I still have family in the UP, and they still speak like that. Yes, you do.
Fuck. I hate
What
it.
did you say? You said bye-bye to me earlier.
Aw, that's cute.
Did
on
I?
the phone.
Bye-bye?
You said bye-bye. And I think that's Midwest. I think that's a Midwest thing.
I saw a family that you walk in a room and they're like, oh, here comes trouble. You know?
Yeah, I hope
I'm too old for this shit, eh?
I really hope I don't sound like that.
I find myself
holy wow.
Oh yeah. I do that at work.
Oh Jesus, criminy.
That's what I do a lot at work now because I can't swear. So I always Jesus criminy.
Jeepers Christmas is always a good one. But
that's a good one.
Yeah, so how can people get a hold of your book?
Amazon. I'm literally the only Rob Weldon on Amazon. I thought for sure that would be taken. I'd have to go by R.A. Weldon or some other
Rob Weldon 263 or something.
There is a
on Amazon. Like so
I don't know how that works.
Rob Weldon. I'm literally the only Rob Weldon on Amazon. It's easier to remember than Consumia Spiritual Emporium. You know? Yeah. But it's called the Omnist series. So like all the other books will also be within the Omnist series.
I'm so excited for the second book, which is set kind of you're definitely going to release a second book
in October. The second book is called Mostly Human, Mostly Cat. It sounds like a contradiction, but actually it isn't. It actually
I know a little
sense.
bit about what's going to come in this from our conversations. I'm very excited about it. I do have before we
here come those questions.
Right? Yeah, no,
I got
for sure.
questions. I've only got two,
right.
and I don't know how much you want to talk about this, but somebody asked how you feel about Balbucio, the character. What they were interested in that character. I was also interested in that character, and he shows up a couple times. Very it's
he's more of an annoyance at this point.
And what I guess. Is he going to be?
Yes, he comes later? Back. He'll be an annoying character again in book 2 in Mostly Human, Mostly Cat. He takes a break in book 3, which is called the Omnist and the Cosmic Egg. But then he does come back in book 4, which is called the Patina of Dorothy Grant. And he's a main character. He's not a perspective character, but he's a very vital character. Yeah. And you learn a lot more about him and Uxian and just their arrangement with the Emporium and whatnot. So,
and then this is just for me. You can say no. Can I get an impression of what you hear?
Nope.
Okay. All right.
Nope.
Not going to do
I'm not an actor.
All right. That's
I'm not
cool.
a voiceover.
Like a voice.
All right. So now this is Aaron asked me, what motivated your choice to make some things happen in reality, like where North Hollywood takes place on real streets and real place.
Right.
But then slightly change these other things like, so you have like Trader Joe's and Lancashire and real places in North Hollywood, but then like Facebook is not Facebook.
Yeah, it's Face Farm.
Face Farm. And Instagram is not Instagram. It's
Permagram.
Like what made you decide to tweak those little things?
Honestly, I think a lot of it was
trademark.
Okay,
absolutely. Because
here's
the thing with Trader Joe's, I'm nothing but glowing about it.
Okay.
And everybody I've ever met that works at Trader Joe's, every time I've been at a Trader Joe's, and no, they're not paying me, you guys, but they're
shop at Trader Joe's.
But Theo, one of the main characters, works at a Trader Joe's, and I just didn't feel like being a dick and changing it to something else. It felt better. It made him more real that he worked there. But yeah, it's like you don't go to Giggle, you go to Google. Yeah. Or you don't go to Google, you go to Giggle.
Yeah.
Well, that was.
But you know what I mean. But the thing is that there are a lot of bad things that could be construed from this novel about these other companies, and I don't want to deal with that. And it's supposed to be funny anyway, so you're not taking it too seriously.
Everybody liked the fact that those things were changed, but it was just an interesting idea of like what made you.
Yeah.
And then this is just my question because I am. This is something I have such a hard time with when I write. I always go placeholders, but how do you come up with names? Because you told me Uxian. You told me when we were walking here. You told me that there was an actual
it means
background to that. But
my heritage is Finnish and English, and I always wanted to write a character that was from Finland. So Uxian is from Finland, even though their names are very traditional there. I liked the name Uxian because it means like lonely or loner in Finnish. And it looks a little weird, written out in English.
It's very difficult. Yes, I was definitely.
But it's literally just but I do have a little.
Yeah, he gives you a pronunciation guide. I just chose to ignore it because that's how I am. I just was because I know Connie and Consumia like that. I can. That's pretty. You can. There's layers to that name.
Yeah.
Theo, even I can come up with I can connect some dots for Theo.
Well, you know his last name, right?
Theo. It's
Loggins.
Loggins, yeah. Because I always
say it fast. Say it fast.
Theo Loggins, theologians.
Right.
And that's the thing. Theology. But coming up with like even like Kick is kind of a sidekick to he lets. And it's like,
but yet he still pushes. He kicks for her, so she doesn't have to do it. She can be the good guy all the time. The good cop, bad cop. He can be the bad cop.
I will say this at the book club. I disagreed. For anybody that's listening that was at the book club, this was something most people were in agreement about what they think Kick is going to become. I'm on the opposite side of the fence, kind of. I'm not going to say what they think. I'm not going to say what I think. You have to read the book to figure it out yourself. But Kick was a very interesting character, and I enjoyed Kick. So
he flip flopped. He was the flip flop guy.
Yeah. So it's but yeah, those are I did not. There weren't a lot of questions that people asked other questions, but they're questions that give away too much in the book. So
right. That's fair.
If you were to ever do like an Audible version or have an audiobook version of this, would you read it? Or would you have somebody else?
I would not read it. Even though I worked in radio, I really dislike hearing my own voice.
You got a good voice.
But I dislike hearing my own voice, and I don't want to do that to the book because I would have to listen to it very carefully over and over to make sure things are done right. And I'm not an actor, and I know that really good readers, they can do nuances with their voice that I would not be able to do.
You can't tell they're reading necessarily.
Right. I always sound like I'm reading. When I would read stuff for people, like even classes or whatever, like I tended to go to like a William S. Burroughs sort of thing where I'm just kind of, Well, that's
I start getting a little. When we would do the scripted podcast, like I said, we did do first draft, first take, and I would go, that was so terrible. Drew's so good at just cold reading. And he wrote the stuff, but he can do voices. He can do all this stuff. I'm amazed at his confidence with his voice. And me, I go, all I can hear is myself reading. I can hear my eyeballs scanning the page. Like that's all I hear in my voice. So I still haven't finished those episodes that were scripted. I get halfway through and I'm like, I can't. I'm done with it.
And it's hours and hours and hours of doing this. Yeah. And I'm not built for that. I'd rather write. I'd rather pay somebody else to do it and do it right.
Well, you said too that you don't want to do like an impression or give a character a voice of something.
You won't even do
I won't even do my characters.
So because it's interesting because I was I had a long drive a couple of weekends ago and I was listening to one of the Dexter books via Audible. And Jeff Lindsay, the writer of Dexter and creator of Dexter, the book series before the show, obviously, was reading it, and the way that he presents Dexter, it like obviously you have comparison with the television show, right? So like my Dexter is Michael C. Hall. That's just kind of. I started with the show first, found it was a book series, started reading the books, and my goal this summer was to read all of them. I didn't, but listening to that, it was just it gives me a different. Just hearing a voice, that somebody else is reading and somebody else is giving a character, changes your perspective a little bit. Changes like your how you feel about the character, because the way that Jeff Lindsay did it, he did a good job. But at the same time, it was just like this Dexter just seems too even keel, I guess. Or
well, I'll say,
I see what you're saying.
I'll say this. There's a book that, man, and it was when I got into Audible, it was, 8 years ago or something, I was still using. So I apologize. I don't remember the name of the book, but
using Audible?
I listened to it. What's that?
Using Audible?
I listened to it with 3 different readers.
Okay.
And each one had something different to offer the story itself. If you really like a book and you're an Audible person, I would suggest if there's multiple people that read it, listen to it with different readers, because it totally can change. It can change the whole story if depending upon how the characters are portrayed, especially in their dialogue. I remember reading Glengarry Glen Ross and then watching the movie, and the differences between how I interpreted it off the page versus the movie. I never saw the play, but was so mind-bogglingly different. That was very interesting to me.
If you're if Consumia were to become a television series or a movie, would you want part of that interpretation of it? Or how do you kind of feel about that? Like, are you a book over movie over book, or does it depend on?
I'm open to the ideas, because I think some of these have been done so well. I really enjoyed Good Omens, the Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett thing, and again, two of the authors that I read the most of during that 52-week thing. I think that then they did an entire series off that one book, and it was phenomenal. It's one of my favorite things that I've seen on television. That and What We Do in the Shadows, but that wasn't a book first. I feel like streaming has more potential for this, because one of the ideas could be that each book is an episode and you just condense it to 48 minutes. I don't know that there's enough in Consumia Spiritual Emporium to be an entire season the way Good Omens is.
I think you could adapt it, in my opinion, because it's so adaptable in terms of if you have to, like, because anytime you watch a series that's based on a book, and if you've read the book, they take out this and they add this and they add things. You have a world set up around this Emporium that would allow for you to for like little things to shape it out. But there's and now it's not like it used to be where it's 30 episode seasons. It's 10 episodes, 8 episodes,
8 or 10 episodes. But yeah, I'm open to ideas. I'm not dismissing
honestly,
anything.
It makes me think of I was just talking to Adrian about this, and I know that, like, it's different, but for some reason my brain goes there. Where, like, do you remember what was it called? 4 Rooms.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like a different.
Yeah, it's literally 4 movies.
It's different director for each room, and there's a different story in each room. That, for some reason, the concept of this shop. And then you have, like, the main story that's kind of like Consumia would be the bellhop type character that's constant, and I don't know if she's going to be, but like that, the store ties everything together, but it's all these different moving pieces that move through it, and I think it could be done. Like, that's kind of something that came to mind for me for some reason.
Yeah. Have you ever? My point is that I'm open to stuff. I'm not right. Poo-pooing anything.
Have you ever been a part of that process? I mean, it sounds like you know a couple of people that are in the shit, in the biz. Have you ever been?
Yeah, I think they call it the industry, Drew.
Oh, that's the word, industry. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that much about it. I mean, of course I know people. We're in Burbank. There's lots of people that do it, but I don't know that much about it. I'm not gonna pretend I do.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's awesome, man. Well, you got anything left to say? Anything left to promote or discuss?
How's your beer?
It's fine.
That's how he's gonna ask that, and then we'll get into the beers.
Yeah, it's fine. I've been sipping it through the great conversation. It's all when things are going well or things are going better when I don't talk that much. When the beer's left, or when I don't talk that much either.
I thought I was taking the lead on this interview, but the radio personality and Drew will not let that happen.
I'm
It's
sorry.
good, though.
I'm sorry. I don't know.
You don't know.
No, you don't want radio silence.
He literally can't let a millisecond of silence go.
But that's true. That's good.
And this is a podcast. He can cut all that out later. I don't care how much work he has to do.
Okay. Like I said, we're
Sorry
we're
for
one
him being
take.
good at his job. That sucks, man.
Yeah,
Come on, Rob.
I stopped doing interviews. I just was like, yeah, you just do the interview.
You've been on a couple of them.
I've been on a few, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Goff, if Goff is listening, just so he knows, I don't avoid his interviews. You just stopped telling me that they're happening now.
They happen on days that you're working, or they're just
we're on
they're just last minute.
Goff is a filmmaker from Australia. That's every time he releases something, we have him on.
But you're never on it.
I was on one of them. I've done one of them, but Drew just takes over. So
that's awesome, though.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
I learned more in this conversation. That he asked questions.
Where did you work in radio, Drew?
I still do part-time, just on-air rock station. Between songs, talking about, I got 3 breaks an hour from 2 to 7 Monday through Friday. 2 of those are sponsored, so it's pretty open up for me to create bits.
He's rocking the upper Midwest on 96.9.
I don't 96.1, 95 and 96.1.
I forgot. I've been gone too long.
Are you guys playing All Good Things? The band All Good Things?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dan was my co-bartender at Tony's, and he had the #1 song at rock radio Billboard a year ago, and he had to quit to go on tour. So he's toured
crazy.
With, his All Good Things has played with POD, Seven Dust, etc.
Yeah,
and
we play All Good Things.
He's coming in on Labor Day at Tony's Darts Away to do a guest shift, a bartender shift, just first time in 13 months at that point, like just to do it because again, everybody knows him here. But that's just amazing. Yeah, now you know Dan too. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I don't listen to a lot of the music on that station, but some of them are good. I'm more of a punk ska.
He's a punk guy.
Sure.
Some some like hardcore and stuff like that. So we've had a couple. What?
Did you say you're like hardcore or stuff like that?
Yeah, I like the music.
Yeah, well, okay. I want that quoted somewhere.
He likes Blink 182.
I do like Blink 182. You're right. I love Blink 182.
I was teasing you.
I listen to.
We all got a Blink 182 phase in us. I don't care.
We all.
When
I first moved to LA, like they were just taking off.
I'm almost 32. Blink 182 was me growing up, that's all I listened to. But yeah, I've branched out. I listen to a lot of I've been listening to No Trigger a lot. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
I don't.
Heart Attack Man is really good. It's they ripped off a Beastie Boys song, but they're a really good band.
I hate them already.
You don't like the Beastie Boys?
Me and him don't see eye to eye on music.
But I don't know if I do or not because I don't know these bands.
He stopped my song at his wedding.
But it's his wedding. You played
middle.
that song at his wedding?
He killed the vibe. It's not that.
The vibe.
It's not that it was a bad song. It's just Rob. I also
never die. I will never change. I'm an immovable object, and you are an unstoppable force.
I also DJ weddings. So I kind of understand. Like
you're watching the crowd,
right? Exactly. And then
the
when you
crowd was gone when the song came on,
and they laughed when they laughed. It was just
Bullshit.
him. It was him and one other person on the dance floor, and I was like,
"That's what it was when the song started." The DJ said, "Great pick."
It's not that it's a bad song; it's that it killed the flow.
What
Robert,
song was it?
Can I kick it?
Oh, from Tribe.
Yeah,
that's great. That's a great
Boom.
song.
I'm not
dismissing
the song, but one, I was like 40 beers deep, and two,
he was farting all over the dance floor. That was what cleared the dance floor.
People stayed for the farts.
Drew said no.
No, he said no. Yeah.
You cannot kick it.
Drew could not kick it.
I couldn't at the time, but yeah, I don't know. I dabble in things professionally, though. I'm a teacher, so.
I just teach the youth of tomorrow, the youth of today.
Hey man, I would love if more of my teachers listen to punk rock.
No, he gets complimented on his shoes.
Oh, that's
High
like
schoolers.
that's the hugest compliment ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a sneakerhead too, but yeah. Overall, I'm just another fucking person,
We
and
got him.
in
We got
existence.
him.
Yeah.
Look at him.
I'm not important. I'm not a big deal.
You got to take that shirt off and flex, man. That's all I'm saying.
Well, he's already flexing. He doesn't need to take the shirt off.
Well,
Look
tell
at
him
He
that.
said, "Wait, what?"
look at these noodles. But, well, I'm looking into grabbing the book, and I'll read it. I can't guarantee that I'll read it anytime soon. Grad school starts soon, so I'm busy. But
What are you taking?
He's got a new kid too.
yeah, I'm just working on my master's in special education.
Oh, cool.
So
you can talk to Rob better.
Yeah. Is that why we work so well? I never put that together.
He's doing research on you.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, I appreciate you taking the time and coming on the show.
Let's talk about the beers.
Talk about the beers, yeah. So I drank the Wolf Vanilla Rye. This is a sipping beer. This isn't like one that you can just that you can pound, because 12%, 2, it just has the taste where it's just with whiskey or bourbon.
Does it have a heavy whiskey taste?
Yeah, it has a whiskey kick to it for sure. But it's got that good blend. I prefer stouts with that are aged in a barrel, like a whiskey barrel or bourbon barrel, because it adds that that taste to it.
Right.
Because regular stouts, they're okay. I do prefer if they're in that barrel, but this is good. It's got that good vanilla in it. It's not too flat, and it's pretty tasty. These are supposed to keep at they say, kind of not too hot but not too cold. So it's not really something that you store in a fridge, because that can alter the taste and alter the notes and everything like that. So it's, like I said, it's been sitting in my hallway. It's a hallway that tends to be dark. Doesn't really get a lot of light in it, and then it's also been in a box, so it's just been sitting there for a while, and it's good. It's tasty.
Like, what the
My house.
I used to house sit, like dog sit for him. The hallway he's talking about is treacherous.
It's
good for beer though.
It was an addition. Yeah, I'm only the second owner of my house, but the way it was built was funky, and then they added a room, and I'm assuming a garage to it, and it's like my house is like a big circle. My room has 2 doors. And it is a bit confusing. It's old school, but you know
have to
what?
go out into the garage to get into the basement.
So you sleep in a hallway.
Basically, yeah.
More or less.
2 doors.
Yeah.
More or less. My room is incredibly tiny, but my daughter has the master bedroom, and then my son has the other bedroom.
That's why I was gonna say. But you got the porch, and that's all. That's what matters.
We have an attached gazebo off our room too, which is nice. But
that's where we used to record.
But you don't have a sauna though.
No. Well, Wisconsin's like a sauna. All I have to do is go on the gazebo with the fucking 90%.
You know what saunas
humidity.
are for? They're not for the summer. They're for the winter.
Well, yeah, I don't have that either.
You're supposed to you steam up naked, and then you go roll around in the snow.
I'm embarrassed enough taking a shower naked. You're never gonna see me anywhere else naked.
There's a runner here about the shirt thing. That's what I've been trying to get this man to take his shirt off for years.
It's just way too much information.
He can run 10 miles.
Yeah, I have a half marathon on Saturday.
Beautiful. All right, you want to talk about our beer first, or you want me to?
Yeah, go for it, Rob.
I'm gonna say I drank the whole thing, but I don't think I get it again. No, it's not what I expected out of the name. It's if it tasted like it smelled.
Right.
I would. The bitterness went away the more I drank it. I think that's just how it works, kind of.
With beer, anyway.
Yeah, it's not a bad beer, but it's not a beer that I normally I know in the first drink. This is a beer I want again, and this is not a beer like that.
It doesn't have enough malt character for me. Again, I don't like malty IPAs per se. I definitely don't. But if it's going to be lighter, I almost prefer it to be more like a hoppy pale than closer to a session. And this tastes like it's closer to a session. What is it, 6.5? So it's like, it's 6.5. So it's not even that. Like the standard for West Coast IPAs is basically like 7.1, 7.2. And it's weird how you can actually tell the difference with a half a percent.
Yeah.
You can tell. Like,
and
that's so weird.
Yeah, it's I've noticed that even with the bar with the beers down at the bar, like where it's like.
But overall, this isn't a bad beer. If somebody poured this for me and put it in front of me, I'd say thank you and toast you and drink it, and I'll be happy with it.
Awesome.
But will I seek it out? No.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
No.
I absolutely drank it, but I'm not. It's not going to be a memorable beer for me.
Excellent. Well, Rob,
watch we'll carry it like next week now, and I'll look like an asshole.
Real quick, Rob. So, where can people follow you on social media, and how can they keep up with all your
Facebook?
stuff?
On Facebook, it would be the Omnist series.
Okay.
On Facebook, and I literally just started that page because I just published my first book, so I had to do something. In order to buy ads on Facebook and Instagram, you have to start a page. I couldn't just use my own. On Instagram, I am Blood Ren. Well, it's blood.ren because that's an anagram. Why am I missing the name? The word wrong. Anagram of my own name, Rob Weldon.
Yeah, it'd be an anagram.
Is Blood Ren. So that's.
I was wondering why that was it. Honestly, yeah.
It's an anagram. And I'm right now only available on Amazon, but I'm the only Rob Weldon on Amazon. That's Weldon. And the second book, Mostly Human, Mostly Cat, comes out in October. And then sometime in early 2023 will be the third installment, which I'm sending my proofreader next week, as I said. The Omnist and the Cosmic Egg. But these are all part of the Omnist series.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for coming on. And I've noticed that as the interview has gone by, your room that you're in has gradually gotten darker.
Oh yeah,
it's getting dark outside.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I just realized.
Oh, look at it. We were all goth down there.
Yeah. It looks like I literally was like, "What's wrong with my camera?" Oh wait,
it's like a Bauhaus reunion show right now.
Yeah,
Bauhaus, they suck. Anyways,
oh come on now. Oh come on now. I actually have to paint my nails black again starting Labor Day weekend. That's when I do it every year. I've done it every year since I was 18 years old, and it's Labor Day through the end of the year. Sometime in the first quarter, I stop.
Awesome. Good. Maybe that's a trend, though. We can.
Bauhaus? Come on, man. They're a punk band, too.
They're fine.
I don't know what
they're okay.
Bauhaus, whatever.
Not really my area of punk, I guess. I like, Bad Religion and...
The Refused?
It Refuses is good. I like
I like their album.
I like Alkaline Trio, the Lawrence Arms.
I'm not a big fan guy, though.
I listen
so that's some Chicago right there.
Yeah, both of those are from Chicago. I don't know. I've been, I like Frank Turner's good.
Bad Religion's out here, but
yeah, Frank Turner. I listen to Frank. I don't know. I listen to a lot of shit. Direct Hit from Milwaukee. They're pretty good. But that's a whole new different conversation. But
yeah, I'm a little bit older than you. My stuff from that era, like I like a lot of stuff from the 80s, but I like Joy Division and Bauhaus and New Order and The Cure and Depeche Mode and all that stuff. I like a lot of that. I get to play my playlist at work a lot. We all take turns. We all play different stuff, but I lean very heavily on this stuff and a lot of indie rock and a lot of shoegaze from the 90s, and then indie rock right up through now. I like a lot of right now. I like a lot of, I guess you would call it like electronic dream pop. There's an artist called Gloom, but it's not gloom like a gloomy day. It's GLUME, like the plant chemical. Oh my god, it's so good. Imagine like a goth Madonna. Like she's really good. She's amazing. If you've ever listened to like the music scores on like Twin Peaks and the David Lynch films, like all that stuff. Johnny Jewel produced. I don't know if he produced this record, but she's on his label, and he does a lot of this stuff. He was in the Chromatics, but there's a lot of it all fits the same umbrella of this like dream pop electronic-y kind of shoegaze. It's so beautiful. It's just beautiful music. And no, I don't know these people. This is just me liking a lot of new music that I'm putting on my list for work.
Nice.
So anyway,
I'll check it out. Well, thanks again for coming on.
No, he's not.
And,
he might. Well, he does have to edit this. Yeah. So.
I'm not editing.
He'll edit it out. He'll never.
No, I'm saying, but he'll hear it again though. Yeah. So maybe he will.
Yeah. So thanks for coming on, and look forward to the new book, and best of luck to you.
Thanks, Drew. It was great being here.
Rob, do you have anything to say? last?
I guess I'll talk to you later. I guess.
Okay, bye.
Pew pew audio. Goodbye, everyone.